you're planted. Well, I want to do a video about winter gardening. And the first step to winter gardening is to get into my garage and get the hoops that I have to put over the garden bed. So my garage has gotten so messy, it really needs a clean out. So you could literally be lost in there. So what I did was I attached a rope to myself, and I'm gonna go in and I'm gonna get the hoops, and when I'm ready to come out, I'm just gonna give a good tug and the kids are gonna pull me back in the house. All right, so hopefully your garage is cleaner and this will be an easier process for you. But here we go. Here you go, kids.
Are we actually doing this?
Yep.
Oh.
Wish me luck, family. Here I go. Okay, the next thing you want to do for winter gardening is get your PVC. And my beds are 8 by 4 feet. And so I got an 8-foot length. And it's pretty simple. Eli, you want to get to the other side?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Let's get the end first. Yeah, put it in the corner. No, in the bed, just in the dirt. There you go. And the wood of the raised beds keeps it like that. And if you do not have raised beds, I highly recommend them, at least in my area in Dallas, Texas, because I always like to say the settlers broke, or I don't know how many plows the settlers broke before they realized they couldn't garden in the clay soil and they got a few head of cattle. So get some raised beds if you don't have them. But if you don't, if you're in an area where you can garden in the soil, that's great. You can sink rebar down on either side, and you can just sink these poles down over the rebar. I did that at the community garden before we got raised beds over there. So that works too. Okay, put the next one up right about where these things are. Into the soil. There you go. Now these PVC pipes, you can tell, are gray, and that's because they are for underground wiring. They're not UV protected. And people say that will get brittle, but this is the 3rd year for these, and as you can see, they're not brittle yet. So there is a substantial cost difference when you buy these. They're much cheaper. Okay. As you can see, our local average freeze date, November 16th in this area, has come and gone, and it's beautiful weather. It's like spring, fall, I guess. And I don't know, it feels more like summer. How hot do you think it is?
30,000.
70s at least. High 70s. Anyway, but what I'm going to protect in the winter garden when it does freeze is my Swiss chard. I'll protect that. This is cilantro. This is collard greens. Collard greens are great. They will even make it through from the freeze without protection, but I'm going to protect it because the plants do a lot better if they don't keep getting stressed by the freeze. And this is another Swiss chard. Ooh. That summer squash will go. It'll be gone. This is supposed to be filled with wonderful kale, which is in the back. It didn't germinate. If you saw my last video, it didn't germinate. So it's in little pots in the back growing, and hopefully it'll get up there in time to plant. And this bed, little bitty plants are starting to come up. I'm a little late, but this is buttercrunch lettuce and carrots and broccoli right there.
The watermelon
so this will be protected.
is taking a while too.
The watermelon. You can't grow watermelon in winter. He brings up a good point. There are only certain crops you can grow in the winter. If you're a newbie gardener, you know you can only grow the cool season crops, which is Brussels sprouts, collards, broccoli, cauliflower, carrots, spinach, lettuce, kale, Swiss chard, probably forgetting some. All right, the next thing you're going to need for your winter garden is frost cloth protection.
Soft.
And I got this from, I think, Mega Greenhouse store online. And the problem with getting online, I got a lot of it for a great deal, but it was very thin. It was 1%, I think, in the rating, and it was really hard to tell, of course, what would be enough, because you want to get as thin as you can and still protect. But it is way too thin, so I have to double up. So that means, don't make the mistake I did, because now I have to sew some together to double it up. So I'm going to measure it out for my bed and take it inside and sew it. Right now it's like I'm sewing a wedding dress for my garden.
Go, one, go, I win.
So 3 feet, and then about 1 more foot on the ground. Yeah, so I need 3 feet to go up to the hoop, and then come down from that, and then about 1 more foot on the ground to put bricks on to hold it down. So that would be 4 feet on each end, 8 feet in the middle. How many is that, you guys?
Let me see.
16 feet. So I need each one to be 16 feet. Okay, so let's measure 16 feet. Here it is, there's 16 feet, so come here. Okay, there we go. There we go, right there.
The magical prophet of the year. Ooga hira.
Okay. So here we go.
Hi.
All right, the last step to getting ready for winter gardening is when you have your frost cloth, just put it over your hoops. Eli, will you help put it over the hoops?
Yeah.
Thank you. And I put it over the hoops. You need enough to fit over the hoops. So this is probably, my bed is 4 feet across. So I need at least 7 feet over the hoops and 1 foot on either side to put the bricks on it. So that's 9 feet. You pull on your end so that there's enough to put a brick on, okay? There's enough on my end. Keep pulling. Good. Okay, go get a couple bricks. Make it tight. All right, so then you just need some bricks to weigh it down all around. And of course, I just bundle it up. And after the night of the freeze, you can come back and take the bricks off and let it have the nice Texas sunshine of the day. That's pretty much how you can grow all winter in an urban setting. And probably a lot of you have it's already frozen in your area. So it hasn't frozen here yet in my garden. So we're enjoying a little taste of summer still. So for winter, your plants will be in here all warm and cozy. All right, winter is finally creeping upon us. We have a possible freeze tonight. I hear temperatures of 33, but it could dip down to 32. So we're gonna harvest everything and just prepare for winter a little bit better. Okay, so join us. I have some ideas about what I'm going to do with them. It involves roasting and putting in oil, so we'll see. Freezing some of them, so we'll see. Finally, my calendula plants are starting to go into bloom, and it's going to freeze tonight, so I'm going to try giving them a little cover. But it's supposed to be a very healing blossoms, and you make a tincture out of it and an ointment for skin conditions. So that one's about to bloom too. I was so excited to see their bloom, but yeah, I don't know. So we'll see. And my garlic's going strong. Not sure how that's going to react to the freeze. Oop. There's a bell pepper branch in there. Another bell pepper branch. And this is elephant garlic, so it's a lot bigger. Okay, ready? Prophet, this is the fun part. Hold out your hand. Or actually, just reach in there and get a handful.
Okay.
Now just scatter it all over that garden bed. Just toss it out there. Now get another handful. Now just scatter it out all over. Good, yep, another handful. Good, get some in the middle. Not just around the edges, get some in the middle too. Perfect, good. Okay, let's go do another bed. And here is broccoli rub. Look at those blooms. It's a winter bouquet. So I'm going to trim those in just a minute and take those inside and stir fry them up tonight. You can even put the blossoms in salad. So that's kind of fun. You can eat them. I found something over here. I vaguely remember planting some garlic over here at one point. So I really thought it was dead and gone. So apparently it is not. So it came up all by itself right by this keen pepper plant. So that's interesting. So I can't wait to see what that turns into. It looks like elephant garlic to me. So that's very cool. All right. I have to say that preparing for the winter garden is a good deal of work. Harvesting all day, all hands on deck. It's a good bit of work, so I'm going to be tired tonight. So right now I'm covering this bed with my frost cloth. Okay, now for the continued saga of my frost cloth covering. So I borrowed my sewing machine was broken. So I borrowed my sister's sewing machine so I could sew my frost cloth together. That I got the wrong strength for my area. So I needed it in 2 layers. So I borrowed my sister's sewing machine and it broke. Yeah, couldn't repair it. So it cost about $100 to get a sewing machine looked at. So I'm not going to spend $100 on $100 more on the mistake I made. So guess what my solution was? Ta-da! So I just stapled it. And do what you gotta do. But I have to say, the food is worth it. Kale is worth it. Spinach is worth it. Beets are worth it. Turnips are worth it. Carrots are worth it. Lettuce is worth it. So, being able to feed my family organic, fresh, wholesome food, it's worth it. I did get one frost cloth sewn when I had my sister's sewing machine. So, that's great. But, before it broke. Hate it when that happens. Oh good, the wind's gonna help me just a little. Great. Things don't usually go smoothly for me for some reason. All right, here's the winter garden all dressed up and ready for the first wreaths. There's something in the garden. It's a prophet. If your neighbor decided to do this with her garden, or with her front yard, I mean, if she decided to make her front yard into a garden, and then right before the freeze, she did this. What would you think? Would that bother you? Would you ever think about doing this with your front garden? Now, it's not always like this. Usually, I'll come and I'm able to take off the white cloth, the white frost cloth, and let it soak up the beautiful sunshine. But today, it's cold all day, temperatures are dropping, so it's just gonna stay on. But what are your thoughts about the winter garden? All ready to go. Always remember, if you're the spouse of a winter gardener, the night before the freeze, she or he might lead a little bit of TLC, a little bit of understanding, and maybe a takeout meal.